Hello and welcome back to the Just As I Am podcast. It is your favorite friend, as always, Nicole, and today we are going to be talking about a couple of different things, but they all have one thing in common, and that is serving others. So stay tuned. So it's been a long time, sorry, but not this past Thursday, but a week ago Thursday, we had a ladies' soup supper at church, and we have been trying to, when we have these events in the spring, we have a salad supper, and in the fall, when it gets a little cool outside, we like to have a soup supper. And at these events, we like to bring people in who work for or have something to do with personally um, these associations, these what's the word I'm looking for? Organizations and things like that we as a church support and try to help whenever we can. And for our soup supper this year, our two organizations that we had were Birth Choice and Mission of Hope. So today we are going to be talking about those two specifically, but we're just going to get into serving as a whole and how these two organizations serve God's people. So the first one who spoke was Birth Choice, and Birth Choice is West Tennessee based. It's especially Jackson based, but they are a pregnancy medical clinic. So, like I said, they're mainly Jackson, Tennessee based, but they have 8 main locations, and then they have 6 weekly locations because they have mobile buses and vans where they can go out to even more cities and serve those. But Birth Choice was founded by a husband and a wife who struggled with infertility and had decided in their hearts that they wanted to adopt. Well, when they finally had made that decision and had verbalized it to somebody who could help, they were told that it would be a very long time before they could adopt, before they could find a child to adopt. And they had asked why. And the reason was that they were told was that there's just not enough babies. So many women are having abortions, so there's just not enough babies for all of the people who are trying to adopt right now. This was just their story. It could be different, which this was 30 plus years ago, I think. I want to say late 90s is when this was happening. But with this, they decided to, I guess, do something about it, obviously. And they created Birth Choice. And Birth Choice is a place where women can go for many services, typically free of charge for the most part. But here are some of the services to kind of give you an idea. They have, and this is from their website, so you can go to, oh goodness, was it birthchoice.org? It was something like that. But you can go to Birth Choice's website, and their services include compassionate medical and pregnancy consultations, lab quality pregnancy testing, ultrasound confirmation of pregnancy, which is free to those who qualify, and they have education about medical and surgical type abortions. So, one of their main missions is that they strive to help make healthy and informed choices. That is their goal. Um, Birth Choice is a place where women who just are unsure about the future, they find themselves in these positions. It's a place for them to go not only to get medical care, but to get just have a foundation to find people who care for you and are trying to help you make good decisions and get what you need and require. We had one of the nurses that works at Birth Choice come and speak, and she informed us about all kinds of things. She said that, let's see, where do I even begin? We started with, she gave us the background of Birth Choice. And then she also told us about, how they can come in, get the free pregnancy testing, let them know, give them an idea, help them plan, try to, give them the biblical perspective on the whole thing. Because a lot of these women have, they might be in abusive relationships, they might be involved with drugs, they might 90 well, I won't say a statistic, but a lot of the time that's the struggles with these women. And so, or they're young. They're single women, who now have this new life change and decision and a lot of decisions coming up, and they need help and assistance. And sometimes people don't have a group or their family, with them to do that. So Birth Choice is here for that. That is one of their purposes. But they can go in and they can get care and support throughout their whole pregnancy. They can also come back for classes. They have classes on, like I said, on both the medical and surgical abortions. They try to educate women on basically the procedure, how this works, what could happen to you, what the effects can be if you were to go down one of these routes, how it can affect your body. But we were asking about ways that we can help Birth Choice, how we can, use them as a mission and be a mission to help the mission, I guess. And we were told that, they take gently used items, I believe from infant to 2T, they take those kind of clothing items and gently used toys, but they also take sleepers, diapers, baby wipes, all the things that you need when you have a baby or a young child. And they said that you can donate these items because the mothers, when they come to the classes or some of the classes that they have at Birth Choice, they get something, I want to say mommy money, but maybe she said mommy bucks. It was something like that. But anyways, it's their reward for coming to the class, and then they can use that money to go to the store and buy their baby something. So that was really precious. They have a few different fundraisers throughout the year. She said they do, the men cook up meat for holidays, and they have a big gala in the spring, and They also, between Mother's and Father's Day, have a baby bottle fundraiser, which is where they send out baby bottles to all of these churches who would like to participate. And church members can take one home and fill it up with change and bring it back. That one is, I remember that one from forever ago, but it was really sweet to learn all about this. And it kind of hurts your heart, but then it also heals your heart at the same time because, you know, you hear about these broken people, but then they come to this place where they can become whole or, you know, be aided in healing, I guess. The the second organization that actually, let me go back. Let me finish up with birth choice. Um Essentially, birth choice is striving to help make healthy and informed choices. We kind of went over that. And if you go look on Birth Choice's website, you will find that they say we are Birth Choice, providing information, resources, and advocacy for you. And that's how I'll finish Birth Choice. I'm done, for real. The second organization we had was Mission of Hope, and we had a husband and a wife come, and they were lovely. They came, and both of them spoke, mainly the wife. I feel because she had a bigger part in it than her husband, but that is not to say that, you know, he didn't do anything. Um, a little tidbit about Mission of Hope is that it was founded in 1998 by Brad and Vanessa Johnson. Their vision was to build a mission that would help the people of Haiti with physical and spiritual needs. So, kind of like Birth Choice, that organization, it had a reason for its start. And the reason for Mission of Hope being created was because this couple went on a mission trip to Haiti and they witnessed a father holding his very young child, carrying her to get medical attention, but the child died in his arms because they did not have money for food. They did not have money to feed their child. And so she basically died from starvation. So that was what created the foundation to this, and it has really, really grown. The couple that came to church, initially the wife started and she was heavily involved with it, and eventually she kind of weaseled her husband's way in there. That maybe so she started it and she had tried getting him to come and come and come and come. And, you know, he was telling her that that was her mission. You know, he was fine there. He'd take care of the house and the dogs and the kids and everything. And finally, she was able to get him to come because he was an engineer. And so, you know, engineers are really good at math and numbers and measurements and things. And so she was able to kind of con him into going so he could help build things and put things together. But they shared some of their experiences in Haiti, and they just returned from an 18-month mission trip, I guess. They moved there for 18 months and they just returned to the States. But they were some of the sweetest people. They told us a lot about this. I mean, overflow of information. Some of the things that they told us were their main goal is to provide meals to people in Haiti because I don't know if you've caught up on what's going on in Haiti, but Haiti is essentially, since their president got assassinated in 2021. It is gang territory central, and the Haitians who are not involved with gangs are basically cast off, pushed. They live along the edge because the gangs take up almost the whole central part of Haiti. Now, the Dominican Republic has a huge problem with Haiti, with the people of Haiti. We were explained how here in the US, during Civil War times and even, within the past century, how, there's the war between white and blacks, how blacks were not treated, as people. And they said that it's that way, but times a very large percent. And so they had, in the Dominican Republic, made it to where all of the Haitians, I guess you could say the illegal immigrants, if you were a Haitian, they sent you back home to Haiti. So Haitians are still living in the Dominican Republic, but they are trying to stay incognito. They are trying to stay under wraps because they would rather live that kind of life in the Dominican Republic than go back home and not have food, not live in such a dangerous place. And so the goal of Mission of Hope is to not necessarily, bring, in a way they're bringing peace, but they're not starting a commotion. What they're doing is they are just trying to feed the people of Haiti. And with every meal that they provide for a person in Haiti, they also get the gospel. Some of their goals here are to, with the way that things are in Haiti, is with the people who work with Mission of Hope, they send them down there, but then they train people who are, let's say, natives or just others familiar with it. They try to train these people, especially local pastors in Haiti. They try to prepare them and train them in case they have to leave. That way, the mission does not stop, it does not pause, it continues. And so, their main goals are to connect people to Jesus, empower local leaders, serve people holistically, engage people relationally, and steward with excellence. And they gave us a story about how, this one lady had seen people with Mission of Hope or something or another, and this one lady spoke Creole, which is not a native main language of the Dominican Republic. And because one of the ladies with Mission of Hope knew how to speak Creole, she was able to speak with this woman, and this woman had small children, and I believe she had one on the way, and I don't think the father had gotten sent back to Haiti, I believe was the situation. Anyways, so because of this instance, the lady was now able to feed her children through Mission of Hope and learn the gospel and all of this. Well, the mother made a friend with another mother who had even more children who was struggling to feed her children, and then she was able, that the original mother shared her Mission of Hope meals with this mother. And what ended up happening was this first mother, Creole speaking mother, got deported back to Haiti, but the children had to stay because they were born in the Dominican Republic. So this mother the second mother, the one who befriended this mother that was being aided by Mission of Hope, was able to take in this mother's children and care for all of them. So I think the total children that she had in her house was 10. I could be wrong, but it was a lot of kids. And through Mission of Hope, she was able to continue to take care of these children, even though their mother and their father were back in Haiti. And so it's really, it's changing things for the better down there. You know, you can only hope and pray and support people like this who are going down there trying to make a difference or trying to aid these people who are struggling, because there's no government, there's no person in charge. It's just chaos and evil down there. But Mission of Hope's goals by the time 2030 rolls around are to be, they would like to give or have given 1 million meals. They would like to have 125,000 students in their education program. And they would like to have 200 communities with healthy churches. That is their goal to have by 2030. We were asking them, you know, what are ways we can support you here as a church, and they, you know, said to donate, but typically they have partners and things that do support them and help them continue to function. One thing that they said people could do is contact them to be able to make the meal packs, to prepare the bags of food to send down there. And they were explaining that you choose how many meals you would like to make, and you basically make an assembly line. And somebody gets a scoop of this, somebody gets a scoop of this, somebody gets a scoop of this. Then they seal the bag, then somebody packs the bag, and then you just ship it down there. And one day I hope to be able to do that and be able to support them in that. You can find so much more information on their website. It is loaded with information. It is missionofhope.com. And you can go there and learn even more than I'm telling you. And once again, you can go to Birth Choice and get on their website. And if you're just in the area, you know, and you have these fears or struggles, just know that you're not alone. But like I said, this was just going to be discussing serving, because both of these organizations are here to serve God's people and to care for those who need it, those who are struggling, those who just don't feel like they have a leg up, you know. And not only can you do things like this, but just day to day, you know, in your own community, you can find small things to do to help others. Here in town, we have blessing boxes, and I recommend seeing if your area has blessing boxes, and to, if you can, just, you know, every once in a while check on them and see if they even have anything in them, because sometimes they're barren and sometimes they stay stocked. So with the holiday seasons coming up, I would totally recommend checking for those. If, you know, you're preparing for the holidays, if you're preparing for Christmas, you know, go through your closet or just your junk drawers or whatever, and if you have things that are in good condition that you just don't need or you don't use or you just don't want anymore, I recommend taking those to local organizations that could use them, that have people that could use them. What else is there? I mean, just, you know, supporting your local soup kitchen. Um, Another way to serve is just by spending time with people who need it. Uh, you know, young or old, whoever. Sometimes people don't always have people to talk to. They're just by themselves. They might be a widow, they might be a widower, they might just, you know, be old, or they might not spend time with a lot of adults and they might need adult conversation. But there are so many ways that you can go out and serve your community. But I wanted to end with this, and I will read to you. I believe I'll read to you a few things, but the first thing that I'm going to read to you is 1 John 3:18, and it says, "Dear children, let us not love with words or speech, but with actions and in truth." And with that being said, you know, you sometimes the truth hurts, but the truth is the best thing to give somebody. So, no matter the situation, always use truth, but use it in a loving way. don't don't just, be a blabbermouth and say it where, because you don't want to be hateful, you don't want to be hurtful. You want to be honest, and you know, the some of the best ways in solving a problem is admitting that you have one and going from there. So, I hope that this, you know, intrigued you and encouraged you and educated you to get out there and serve your community and do something. Make a difference, make an impact, share the gospel. And, you know, sometimes you don't even have to use your words when sharing the gospel, you just use your actions. And when you're using your actions to help others and do it in love, you are doing just what you're supposed to. So, can't wait to see y'all on the next one. Bye.